Hello guys, welcome back to OzTech. Today we're going to be checking out the Metabox gaming laptop that I've had for about a year now. So I've had plenty of experience with this laptop, and we're just going to go through the specs of it and whether or not perhaps a gaming laptop is a good idea during today's market and the limitations of being able to get normal desktop computer components. Start off with the processor. So as you can see, it's running a bit warm. That's just because it's on first startup and it's doing a heap of stuff at the moment and doing all that sort of business. So this isn't very representative of what it's like when it's gaming. It runs completely fine when it's gaming, and I've never had an issue in regards to temperatures or the computer shutting down or anything for any reason. Now this is an i7-9750H, which obviously is a laptop designed CPU. Its base clock is 2.6 GHz, which is a little bit slow, although it can boost to 4.5 GHz under the right conditions. So as you can see, it is boosting to those clocks at the moment, or hovering around, just sitting in the desktop, not doing anything. So it's more than capable of reaching that. So this is a 6-core 12-thread processor on the Coffee Lake architecture, which is a 14nm chip. So it's fairly new, although obviously with Intel's latest series of CPUs, it's obviously a little bit dated, but it's more than capable of getting the job done and playing all the latest titles, which I have done on this laptop. So this laptop has 16 gig of RAM. I'm not sure what it's clocked to, although I would say maybe 3200, something like that, which is more than enough for playing all your latest titles and that sort of thing for now. Although the great thing about Metabox is all their laptops can be user configured and upgraded to suit how you want to play. So that's also a great advantage of Metabox and their series of laptops. So probably one of the most amazing things is this has got an RTX 2060 inside it, which as we know are very powerful graphics cards. So again, no dramas, playing any of the latest titles on really good settings and having great FPS while you're doing it as well. So this monitor is a 1080p display at 144 Hz, so it's extremely smooth and it's a really nice gaming experience. So it only has 2 gig of memory on the graphics card, which is a little bit low, but when you're on a small display, it doesn't really make that much of a difference, and you can still get great settings, as I mentioned before, which does look really good on this laptop. So it's sitting at about 50 degrees, which isn't too bad, and during gaming I've seen it get up to about 70 or so degrees, so it's not too much of a big deal, well within spec, so I've never run into any drivers or anything like that when it comes to gaming. Storage, it's got a 500 gig SSD, which is plenty enough for doing for putting movies, games, and obviously your operating system on. But again, as mentioned before, there is plenty of space for upgrades in the future if you wish to add a bigger SSD or anything like that, which is again a great thing about these Metabox gaming laptops. User configurable, so if you do run out of storage and you're wanting to get a bit bigger of a SSD, you can pull the back of it off, and yeah, it's easy enough to change that out. Alright, so I thought I would quickly run you through the Metabox website just so you can get a bit of a gauge of what they're currently offering. Okay, so they've got, as we can see here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 different laptops that they do offer, which are all customizable. So from memory, I think this is an Alpha X laptop. So let's just run through and see what we can see. Yeah, looks about right to me. So obviously they've come a bit of a way now with their offerings of graphics and CPUs than what they had 2 years ago. So now they're offering up to a 3060 as well as the new 11th gen Intel CPUs, and obviously more RAM, and up to 3 separate SSDs. That's incredible. So 6 hours of battery life, which I can confirm it is about 6 hours when you're just browsing the internet, doing, watching some videos and that sort of thing. Although, just like every laptop, you want to have your power brick plugged in whilst you're gaming, otherwise the experience is a little bit poor with more demanding titles, and you'll notice a lot of FPS drops and that sort of thing. So, as it says here, full power GTX or RTX cards are available, and the new Intel 11th gen CPUs. Also, 64 gigs of DDR4 up to 32 megahertz, which is really good. Also, obviously, the new Intel CPUs are offering lots better performance. So this display is a 17-inch display, which is more than enough for gaming on a compact size. And obviously the keyboard is also RGB, which is nice too. Just scrolling down, obviously bragging a lot about ultra compact, which this is, for the amount of performance it packs inside, which is quite amazing. And again, the screen is fantastic. Obviously, they're now offering 4K, which is great. As seen before, this is only a 1920 by 1080 screen, but it is still 144 Hz, which is great. Again, there's that RGB keyboard, which is nice. Mine's just set to blue for now. It's got a nice brushed metallic finish to the whole of the laptop, which is nice, although I would have preferred something a bit more matte, as this can scratch quite easily, and it's a little bit less durable than what you would likely want. Although, in saying that, if you've got, if you keep it in a case and you look after it, it's not really that big of a deal. Like we know, we can set this up to actually run onto a monitor, which is handy if you want to perhaps watch videos on a bigger screen, or game on a bigger screen, or whatever. So that's also quite important. Like I was mentioning before, their cooling is quite good. That CPU is quietened down now, so all of its background tasks and stuff is done on first startup. Like I did mention, I haven't started this up in quite a while, so there was a bit that it had to do, but it's quietened down now, and I'm assuming it's running pretty cool. Lots of heat pipes and vapor heat pipes, that sort of thing, which seems to do a pretty good job. As I mentioned before, never had any dramas gaming or anything. So the starting price is $1,400. Now let's see what that $1,400 gets you. So obviously we're just going to stick with the 15.6 inch display, which is no dramas with that. 12-month interest free if you want to do that repayment sort of stuff. So their basic one, the Flow starts at $1,300. Their Edge starts at $1,200, which is sort of their not so much gaming focused one. Same with the Alpha S, more so for just general working sort of stuff. Same with the Air, if that's how you pronounce it, as obviously that only offers smaller screens, better components in this one, which is more for a workflow sort of laptop and that sort of thing. You can still game on it, no dramas, but still it's more sort of focused for that workflow sort of stuff. So as mentioned before, this is their lineup, which goes all the way down there as well. So they've got quite a few that you can choose from, which is there's a lot of good price ranges here that they begin at. All right, so now this is where you can edit your laptop. So we'll stick with the 15-inch display just to see how it will stack up. So there's a few different graphics and CPU options you can go with. A 30 3050 Ti, and a 3060, which is quite amazing, all with the 11th gen 8-core Intel CPU. So there's a few different configurations that you can go with. So we'll start with this one, which is the cheapest one. We'll build it and see how much we can see what's included in this one. So as you can see, it was $2,000, now down to $1,500, which is pretty good. So let's see what that $1,500 gets us. So an i7 11800H 8-core and up to 4.6 gigahertz, which is pretty impressive. Nothing wrong with that at all. And the new RTX 3050 4 gig GDR6 memory, which is also quite nice. So you can't complain with that at all. That's a pretty good graphics card, especially for a laptop. You can also choose your thermal paste, which is nice as well. Obviously, if you really want to push the laptop, or even perhaps just a bit more security and longevity, you can go with a bit better of a thermal paste, which is nice. Although they still do use a high quality thermal paste, which you definitely want on a laptop. So I went with the 1920 by 1080 IPS grade 15.6 display, again at 144 hertz, which is quite nice. They also do have this as an option, which is a matte 240 hertz LED display, which is quite impressive for an extra $99, down from $449, which is crazy. They also have a 4K display and a 3K display, which is a QHD display as well, so that's quite impressive at 165 hertz, which is very nice. So plenty of options there for displays. You can also upgrade your memory here if you want to increase that. So the base one is just two 8 gig sticks at 2066 megahertz, which is okay. Although if it was me buying this again, I would definitely go for just the one stick of the 3200 megahertz, which is only another $29 more, which in the grand scheme of things isn't too much. Which then means you can upgrade later on to another stick of the same, which will give you 32 gigabytes, which is quite nice as well. Or you can just go straight out of the box and get it here for an extra $149, which isn't too bad. So you got an NBOT2 SSD, which is obviously quite good. The base one, again, just that 500 gigs. It's an NVMe drive, which is good. Nothing wrong with that. If you just wanted to chuck a few games on here, it wouldn't be too bad, but I would recommend going at least 1 terabyte. So that gives you plenty of wiggle room for games, as we all know, have really gone through the roof with how big they are. So a terabyte drive would be definitely a good option, and it's only another $39 more, so it's not that big of a deal. Obviously, you can get up to 8 terabyte and beyond, which is quite expensive. And you can also add another one if you wanted to, which isn't a bad idea, although if you get a terabyte or 2 terabyte drive, you won't really have to upgrade for a while. But I would recommend going a third party and getting something probably a little bit better. I'm sure you could find a bit better bang for your buck. 500 gigs for $119. I'm sure you could probably find a bit better of a deal. You can also add a hard drive too, which isn't a bad option. Going back on what I said before, perhaps a 500 gig would be fine, and then perhaps adding a terabyte hard drive. Again, depends. If you really want to have that snappiness and load times on an SSD, that's up to you. But perhaps, having plenty of videos and movies and stuff saved to your device, perhaps a terabyte hard drive wouldn't be so bad, especially if you're doing video editing and content creation. You can add a different Wi-Fi card to the laptop, just if you want, quicker Wi-Fi, although this has been fine for me. Haven't had any dramas. Downloads really quick. And also adding an optical drive if you wanted to go down that route, but everything's digital nowadays, so it's not really that important. They do give you the option of installing your own operating system, which there is now plenty of websites out there that offer really cheap Windows keys. So I'd rather just do that myself rather than pay the $130 for the Windows 11 key. I'm not so keen on Windows 11. They need to do a bit more work on that to get it a bit more user friendly, I believe. So Windows 10 is fine. They give you as standard a 2-year premium care package, which costs you nothing, which is great. A bit of warranty there just to cover parts and labour and all that sort of thing, which is no dramas with. Obviously you can extend that with these other options here if you so seem fit. So just leaving it like that, $1,500 gets you all of this. So in my opinion, that's quite a good deal. So let's see if we can make a gaming PC for the same price. Alright, so just after doing some quick looking, I've tried to find the cheapest parts that I can find. So here we've got a Cooler Master 750 watt power supply, pretty basic, 80 plus. I'm not sure what certification it is. It might just be, it might not even be bronze. Yeah, it's 80 plus white, so yeah, a bit rough. So that one's going to set us back $89. There is a refurbished option, which I would definitely not recommend, because goodness knows how high that's been used. But again, 750 watt is pretty good, gives you a bit of upgrade room, and it's going to run your system no dramas, although I would definitely spend a bit more and get at least an 80 plus bronze power rating. But again, $89 is not too bad. So I found a RTX 3060 12 gig for just under $900, which isn't too bad considering you'll find a lot of GTX 1080 Ti's asking similar sort of money, so goodness me, not too bad of a deal. We found an i7-11700K. So this is fully unlocked, so you can do some overclocking on this if you wanted to, which isn't bad, and for $599, not a bad price, which was pretty similar to what we got optioned with the laptop, 8-core 16-thread, which is pretty good, sort of the same clock speeds, which isn't bad at all. Turbo to 4.6, which is quite good, although this doesn't come with a fan or a heatsink or anything, so you're gonna have to factor that into your build cost. I'd just go straight for an AIO. Probably set you back about $120 to $150 depending on which one you get, but that would be perfectly fine for something like this. So we've gone with some Corsair Vengeance 2 8 gig sticks at 3200 megahertz for $99, which isn't too bad of a deal considering how prices are at the moment. So that's not too bad. If your budget can, extend a bit more, I'd perhaps go for a bit higher speed and perhaps 2 sticks of 16 gig if you can afford it. Although for starting off, that's not bad at all. That'll all be paired with a MSI Z590A Pro motherboard for $179, down from $239, which is actually a pretty good deal. Has a lot of great features, and it's also able to support, when we come down here, our 11th gen, which is good, up to 3200 megahertz. So with this motherboard, unfortunately, you won't be able to take advantage of a faster RAM than what we have chosen. Although, if your budget, again, it can stretch a little bit more, you can find a better motherboard, which will definitely be handy. Although nothing wrong with 3200 megahertz, it's pretty standard nowadays. Although if you can find something a little bit quicker and perhaps purchase a bit more of a upgraded friendly motherboard, then I'd definitely go for that. For storage, we've gone with a 1 terabyte Samsung NVMe drive, which nothing wrong with this. This will do you nicely for your for a few games and your operating system and that sort of thing, which is quite similar to what we had on the laptop. Again, $175, not too bad. And again, leaves you with a good upgrade path, obviously with this sort of integrated into your motherboard, so you still have plenty of space within your case to add different SSDs or hard drives as you go along. So not a bad start. Obviously, I haven't factored in a cooler, which again we'll say is about $150, and a case again probably about the same. So just for these parts alone, we're just under $2,000, and that's without any shipping costs. So with shipping factored into it, you'd be over $2,000. And again, with your case and CPU cooler, you'd be $2,000 again. So we'll just add $300 to that, which is going to give us $2,280, which isn't too bad for this sort of system. You'd be able to be a pretty good all-round system. You'd be able to smash out some latest titles on that, and also do some video editing and Photoshop and that sort of business without any dramas at all. So all in all, pretty good system. For about $600-700 less, we can purchase this, which will do the same thing. Again, it all depends on what you want to use it for and your sort of situation. And you know, if you're going to be doing a lot of heavy loads, gaming, doing video editing, content creation, I would definitely go with a desktop setup like we showed before. Or if you're just wanting to get into doing some games and, you know, some light video creation sort of stuff, this would be absolutely fine for doing that as well. Plus you have the option of you know, chucking in a HDMI cable, running it to a monitor, and having that bigger screen, which is nice as well. Yeah, would I go for this or a gaming desktop? Well, you can't beat this for price where the market currently is at the moment, especially with doing a few of them different upgrades that they do offer. This will probably bump you up to about $1,600, which again still falls very short of our desktop build that we showed earlier. I mean, good bang for your buck, especially in today's market. For a new system, I'd definitely go with the laptop.